All right, what's up, guys? Sinners is the latest film written and directed by Ryan Coogler. And basically, we have a genre blend right here. A lot of the back half is going to be horror. If, you haven't seen the trailer, there's going to be some slight spoilers in here. So go see it because this movie is amazing. But the first half of this movie is just a period piece, pretty much. It takes place in 1932 in Mississippi, and we follow these two twin brothers, Smoke and Stack, both played by Michael B. Jordan. And they just returned from Chicago, where they went there to, they are gangsters, so they kind of went there to make money or, do whatever they did. We ended up finding out kind of what they were doing there a little bit, but they come back to Mississippi and all they want to do is start a juke club. But upon their arrival, a different evil has come to Mississippi and awaits them as they start this juke club. They buy this old sawmill in pretty much the middle of nowhere, and they want this club to, be where all the townspeople, everyone they know, can come, have a good time, drink, dance, and really just listen and perform music. So I have seen this movie twice now, once on opening day last Thursday, and I wanted to see it again because I wasn't feeling the greatest that day. I was kind of out of it, kind of viewing the movie just a little bit differently. I just was completely out of it, even though I still enjoyed it. I still think this movie is fantastic. I wanted to see it again before I did a review on it, and the second time watching this, I was in it, man. I was sucked in. I appreciated a lot of it more, and that comes with the marketing that this movie had. I tried not to watch the second trailer that Warner Brothers released, but I go to so many movies. I just saw, I happened to see it a few times. I tried not to look, but sometimes you just can't avoid it. So a lot of the trailer, the first one and just mostly the second one, it just markets this as just a complete full-on vampire movie, and that's just not what this is. I do think they blend the genres of horror and this period piece and all this stuff, part comedy too. There's a lot of funny bits in this, but I think they blend it well. But the marketing, the first time I was watching this, I was kind of just waiting for this vampire part to come. When they're in their club, fighting all these vampires, everyone turning. I thought Haley Steinfeld was just a vampire from the get-go. So when she first showed up off the train, I was like, how is she in daylight, all this stuff. So that is partly on me too. I should have just enjoyed it. But Warner Brothers and just marketing in general doesn't really help the fact or just help themselves in any way either, because when movies market themselves as this one thing and then the first hour 15, it's not necessarily slow. A lot of it is very interesting. A part of that is because of Michael B. Jordan. But a lot of people are going to be waiting for this vampire stuff to happen. But luckily, Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, they're a great duo. And really just this whole cast, Miles Catton, Delroy Lindo. They really just it's an amazing cast, just bottom line. Michael B. Jordan is the standout because he's playing two twin brothers. One of them is more reserved. He's about the business, about making money. And then the other one is just kind of like a buffoon, not, just kind of like reckless. And Michael B. Jordan just really does a great job differentiating each character that he plays, just making the slight differences in the way they talk, their voice, the enthusiasm of Stack that he has to do, and then just the more laid back, kind of personal person that Smoke is. Michael B. Jordan's charm and enthusiasm just in pretty much everything he's in, it's just unmatched. This guy is just so enjoyable to watch no matter what he plays, a villain, no matter what it is.
You twins? Nah, we cousins.
In the first half of this movie, the first hour or so, it is about 2 hours and 20 minutes. So the first hour, we're really getting to know these characters a lot. Smoke and Stack, they go on their separate ways, one to town, one doing his other thing with Miles, and because they're trying to get all the stuff they need to open this juke club that they want to open. So one of them goes to town, like I said, and they get all the food that they need, trying to recruit all these people to help them, just redo this sawmill because it's pretty much a shithole. So they need all these people's help. And there's one really cool scene that kind of reminds me a little bit of Scorsese, kind of Tarantino style, where Smoke arrives in this town, and honestly, just right off the bat, just the production design of all of this, 1932 Mississippi, it's unbelievable. It looks great. It feels alive, like you're actually there in real time. All these people are everywhere doing all this random stuff. There's fish markets, medicine stores, and just almost all looked like taverns like they did back in the day. Like, they just all looked wonderful. And it also features a really cool one shot going through this town of this little girl going to get her mother so that she didn't come back and negotiate with Smoke about, he wants to get her to make a poster for him for the club and all this. And it's just a really cool one shot through this town. And it just once again feels so alive. But it isn't the best one shot in the whole movie, and I'll talk about that a little later. The cinematography in this movie was also incredible. It was gorgeous. This was filmed using IMAX cameras, much like Christopher Nolan does. Ryan Coogler advised Christopher Nolan to help him out with all of this because they filmed 70mm on film. And a lot of these shots are just, they really do just look like paintings. It's just the landscape of Mississippi, all these cotton fields, and just all the land that's just so vast. It looks beautiful. We also have Sammy, who we start this movie off with. He's the musician, in this film. There's a lot of lore to do with this movie that I don't really necessarily want to spoil either, but music can break the veil between life and death and all these different worlds, and that comes into play a lot later. But Sammy is this one. He's gifted a guitar by the twins, and this guy is just a master at playing the blues. He is awesome. He's played by Miles Catton, and this is his first movie that he's ever been in, as far as I know. This is his acting debut, and he has a big future, man. This guy was awesome. This kid, I should say, because I'm pretty sure he's pretty young. But he did an absolute fantastic job just keeping up with Michael B. Jordan and all these other actors that are in this movie. He stands out in a huge way. And then we have Wunmi Mosaku in this film. I know her from Deadpool and Wolverine. She was one of the TVA agents. And that's pretty much all I know her from. But she was awesome in this film, dude. She was so cool, so badass. She kind of believes in all this magic, all this voodoo stuff. She ends up being the one who tells them about these things that are attacking them later in the movie. She has all the knowledge on it. So she was a really cool character. And she's also Smoke's ex-girlfriend, or some sort of relationship they had in the past, because once Smoke goes to visit her for this specific reason, just more of us learning backstory on them, on these characters, and getting to know them, connecting with them. So the writing in this film, I think, is just absolutely amazing. Ryan Coogler is just incredible. I mean, just the way these characters are just fleshed out in such a natural way. It just adds to how awesome this film is. And then you get this last 30-minute act, the last act of the movie, where it just goes completely what we're pretty much here for, even though we didn't realize that the first half or all this movie without the vampires and all that would be so interesting, because you get sucked in with these Smoke and Stack twins, with these gangster brothers, and how they come back from Chicago and what they want to do. And you just get so wrapped up in the time period as well. So I can't lie when I said that I really came into this film wanting a lot of vampires, a lot of blood, gore, fighting, all this stuff. I wanted a lot of that, and we don't necessarily get a lot of that, up until the end. But even then, it's really not that much. But after seeing this for the second time and not expecting it, I was able to just sit back and just enjoy this absolutely amazing film much better the second time. And even though this is, a genre blend, vampires, gangsters, and period pieces back in the 30s and all this culture that it has in it, it's not necessarily original, but it is still original. And the creativeness that Ryan Coogler is able to achieve in this film, it's so unique. And just with the narrative in general and the way they, just kind of exploit things and the way everything kind of moves, it is without a doubt a very unique experience. And by the end of the 2 hours, 20 minutes, whatever it is, it just feels so good. You just experience something real. It's just absolutely, it's just cinema, dude. It's that meme. It's one of those movies where that Martin Scorsese meme, this is cinema. It's that. The music is also without a doubt a standout in this film. Not only having Sammy sing all these songs, and there's other people who are at the club who kind of perform and sing all this stuff, and it's all fantastic. But the score that we get, who is done by none other than Ludwig Göransson, who most famously is an Academy Award winner for writing the score to Oppenheimer, which is probably my favorite score of all time. It's probably close with Hans Zimmer in Inception or Interstellar, all Christopher Nolan movies, but this guy is just a genius. And I was shocked when I found out that he did the score to this, because it's so much different from anything he's done, from the Oppenheimer score. I mean, it's just just complete opposite sides of the spectrum, music-wise and culture-wise and all of this. And it's just like, there's nothing this guy can't do. His score just fits the movie like absolutely perfectly. It blends in so well. There's intense scenes where we get this, intense, almost like super bold violin or some sort of string, and it just matches the scene so well. And then the scene that, pretty much a lot of people are talking about, probably one of the most creative things I've seen in film, definitely the most creative, bold decision in the movie, is this one shot when Sammy starts playing his song, he starts singing, and then this voiceover comes on, and it's just saying how, once again, how the movie started with music can, there's certain musicians who can just bend space and time basically to create these riffs. And we get this one shot of just the camera going through this club, going through this sawmill, and it's showing us on screen the different time periods of music that Black culture has created, that it has gone through, from the blues in the 30s, which is obviously where we're at now, goes to like Jimi Hendrix, this dude playing the electric guitar in the 60s and 70s when it started to get electric like that. Then we go to like 90s West Coast hip hop. We get hip hop nowadays, with like Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion and all that type of stuff, and just so much other things like that too, where it just is just representing all this stuff that has gone through for the past 100 years, music-wise. And it's just a beautiful scene. Like, it's so cool. And the way the music is mixed, because Sammy is still singing, but it's, got new beats, electric guitars, it's just all blending. Not only is the scene blending with the visuals, but the music is also blending. And it's just one of the most creative things I've ever seen, just without a doubt. I also think Jack O'Connell, who plays Remick in this film, the main villain, the first vampire who starts turning everybody, I thought he did a great job playing the villain as well. You also kind of sympathize with him in some sort of way, just because he's so persuasive in the way he's talking to these characters before he reveals to them that, he is a vampire trying to take over, and he's really just trying to create this community where everybody is accepted, just more going with the themes of this film. It just happens to be that he wants to turn everybody into an eternal vampire. But I thought he did a great job. A lot of these performances, along with his, just feel very nuanced in this movie. They're very real. And then the last 30 minutes happens. The vampires are revealed, all this. Most of the people are already turned, and there's the few left to fight for themselves inside the sawmill. And this is when we just get what we thought we all came to this movie for, at least a lot of us, I would assume. But the whole first half of the movie ended up being just so amazing in its own that we get these vampires, and it's just kind of a little cherry on top, especially if you're a horror fan like me. The last scene is bloody, it's gruesome, it's brutal, gory, and a lot of it was practical. A lot of these effects, the blood, it looked awesome. I'm sure some of it was CGI. I couldn't necessarily notice a lot, but most of it was practical. It looked great, especially because this was filmed 70mm IMAX. I didn't see it in that, but I've seen it twice now, and it just looks kind of that throwback. Very similar to something like From Dusk Till Dawn, or all those 90s horror movies with all the practical effects. And let's just be honest, the last hour of this film really is just From Dusk Till Dawn. It's very, very obviously inspired by that, but I have no problem with it. I thought it was awesome. I will say though, on my second viewing, I'm almost positive it was the theater I saw it in, because both times I've seen it in two separate theaters. But the second time, the most recent time I saw it, the movie it was almost impossible to see. Like, it was so dark. The lighting it had to have been some brightness setting from the projectionist or something that he did. I don't know what it was, but the first time I saw it, it looked amazing. There was no scenes where I was like, right away when I saw my second viewing, I was like, this is very dark. Like, I can't make out the characters' faces. A lot of the scenes I know who it is because they're talking, but I can't make out any facial features, and I definitely don't remember that being the first time I viewed it. So with how much I liked it much better the second time, because my expectations weren't anywhere, I was just enjoying it. A lot of scenes that were too dark to where, like I said, I can't make out these faces, it took me out of the movie just a little bit. So that was a little bit of a problem for me. So I hope that isn't how it was in a lot of these other theaters. But yeah, this movie is definitely awesome. I had it at number 4 after the first time I saw it so far this year. It'll probably move into my top 3, here pretty soon once I think about it a little bit more. This movie is original, it's creative, it's super cool. Ryan Coogler does a fantastic job just blending these genres pretty much flawlessly. Michael B. Jordan is obviously a standout in anything he does. He is amazing. He's so fucking cool. This movie felt like a genuine experience, and I can't honestly wait to see it again because I really want to see an IMAX 70mm. We'll see if I get a chance. So yeah, go see this movie as soon as you can. I promise you it's going to be amazing. There's been a lot of good movies so far this year. This is definitely one of them. And also stick around till after the credits because it is definitely worth it. It's about like a 5-minute scene, but it's basically a perfect bookend to this whole film. It's just fantastic. It wraps up everything wonderfully. So yeah, I'm gonna give this movie a solid 8.8 out of 10. I appreciate you guys watching. As always, my name is Zach. Like, subscribe, comment. Later.